This is Richard. Richard has severe learning disabilities, many physical issues, and behavioural issues that often result in violence. He's also my little brother. My mum tells this story best. Richard's teeth took a long time to arrive, and he didn't talk like I did. So as a child, I wrote a letter at Christmas to Santa. It said, "Dear Father Christmas, please bring my little brother some teeth so he can talk." His teeth eventually arrived, but 30 years later, Richard still doesn't talk, or for that matter, read. Speech is important. To communicate, to tell stories. More fundamentally, it shapes our personalities, our relationships, our mental health. Imagine for a moment what it is to be robbed of that gift in your prime. Right now you take for granted your ability to articulate complex thoughts and feelings. Think about what it is to know that you've said "I love you" for the very last time with your own voice. Now think about what it is to be born into silence. Until he was about 19, Richard managed with about 90 signs. Mostly nouns, odd verb. Then, when he was 19, he got this. This is an AAC device. It's a relatively simple piece of software. You press a category button, it shows you a set of icons. You press the one that looks like a dog, and the device says, "Dog." We're even going to show you a demo. In fact, you can see this device just in the slide when it was still working.
I want to talk to you. Computer.
Suddenly, Richard has thousands of words. And it's not just me, my mum and my dad that can understand him. It's everybody. It absolutely changed his life. That's the good news. The first problem is that Richard isn't alone. That device cost £5,000 when it was new. A more complex system, you're looking these days about £15,000. Communication is priceless, but there are families that have to choose between heat and food right now. To give you some numbers, a recent study estimated there were 32,000 people in the United Kingdom alone that will benefit from powered AAC like that. Unfortunately, only 9,000 who do. That's 23,000 people who can't tell you what they want for dinner, or describe their symptoms to a doctor, or tell their family that they love them. The second problem is that these devices are proprietary in the extreme. So a AAC user might have one of these devices for 4 years. Got all his common phrases on there, been programmed in. Childhood memories, jokes, pet names for friends. One day it breaks. He's made a backup, but they don't make that device anymore. And he gets another backup from another manufacturer, but it doesn't go on. So someone has to, by hand, put in every utterance, every childhood memory, every pet name, if they know them all, Turns out these aren't just voices, these are memories. Let's be clear, for maximum irony points, manufacturers of communication equipment have formats that do not talk to each other. This gives you another problem. So the page layout, the page sets, they belong to the manufacturers. They're their intellectual property. The page set is how words are arranged on a screen, the placement of words like shop and food and so on. So when you move from one device to another, they're in a different place. It's like going from this to this. Or it would be if the symbols were necessarily the same, but they're not. So moving from one device to another might be like going to this. Enter Kate. Kate also has a little brother who uses an AAC device. Like me, she also wished for speech, except she did it on birthdays rather than Christmas. Unlike me, she's been working in AAC for about 15 years, and she's got quite a lot up her sleeve. So when she said, I've got a page set that's been working really well with a lot of people, I'd like to release it more broadly, I said, let's talk about open licensing. And 10 months later, we released this. This is Communicate. It is a free, open licensed Creative Commons page set. About 4,000 utterances. Comes complete with manuals, online versions, testimonials. And importantly, it comes in a variety of formats. So if you're a Communicate user using it on one device, you get on with your life. If it breaks and you get a new device, you download Communicate for that device. It is device independent. And the response has been phenomenal. We currently have teams doing the translation into Spanish, into French, to Swedish, into Urdu, into Arabic. We got an email the other day saying that our Portuguese version was doing very well in Brazil. Kate had someone hugging her in the street because it turns out that someone's been using this online app in the local accident and emergency ward. So that's what we did. So when I talk to technical audiences, what often comes up is they want to know why there isn't an open source solution. And that's now time to talk about that. So I've given you a problem, told you about what we've been doing. Now let's talk about the future. People want to know why there isn't a Firefox equivalent, why there isn't a Linux, a free version that people come together, why the people in the community, the carers, the family members, why they don't come together and get something built. And I have to explain very carefully that I love the people in this area. They're amazing, they're heroes. They are loving, they are giving. They will work every hour. They'll kick down every door. But they're not technical. They don't sit and write Python programs. They don't have GitHub accounts. There are some, but there's too much to do. There are too many bits to fill in. Except now you've got a set of open icons that anyone can use. And we've got Communicate as the first open page set. And since we launched, a guy called Brian Wilmer over in the United States has produced an open format that means you can transfer much more easily from one type of device to another. And of course, you can get Communicate in that open format. So we're starting to fill in the puzzle pieces. And we're nowhere near an open source solution yet, but we can start to see how we can get there. Because people will build on our work. People will produce specialist sets for dementia, for autism. People will translate components both linguistically and at the programming level. And the more pieces we put into place, the closer we get to a world where everyone has a voice. And we can't do it on our own. So if this story has touched you, and you think you'd enjoy cutting a little code, doing an odd bit of translation, then please get in touch. Because until everyone in the world has a voice, the rest of us have to be twice as loud. Thank you.